Chapter 12. Jade. I shifted along the line. I was moving toward the spot where their quarterback was looking. That was the key. Watch the eyes of the quarterback to figure out where you should be. It was an obvious passing situation. Last down and 12 to go. So I was going to drop back into coverage and not worry about the run. Actually, I wasn't going to worry about anything. There were less than 2 minutes to go, and we were up 84-10. I'd never been in a blowout like this before. And here was a question. Why were the starters still out? This was ridiculous, playing us during garbage time. Give the second stringers some play time, let the rest of us rest, and not risk getting injuries. This was stupid. I wasn't sure if Coach was trying to punish the other team or us for not playing hard enough last game. Either way, it was stupid, and I was angry about still being in the game. Their quarterback called out the signals, and I started in toward the line, faking a blitz. As the ball was snapped, I backpedaled until I reached the space by the sideline where he'd been staring. A running back slipped out of the backfield, through our linemen and into the flat. I slowed down slightly. I didn't want to rush the play. I wanted the quarterback to think he was open. The running back stopped and turned around, and the ball came floating through the air toward him. I had to time this right. The pass was soft, wobbling, and high. He jumped up into the air to make the catch, and just as the ball reached his fingers, I leaped up into the air and drove into him. He groaned as he was propelled backward, my arms around him, the ball popping loose. He smashed into the ground with me on top of him. I felt his body compress under our combined weight, and he sunk into the turf. There was a split second of silence. Then the crowd exploded. "Nice try," I said. I pushed off against the ground and got off. My teammates mobbed me, and the crowd continued to yell. I offered him a hand to get up. He just lay there, not moving. The ref blew his whistle and signaled for their bench to send somebody out. He was hurt. He lay there on the ground still, not moving. And then he moved. Thank goodness he moved. He was okay. He rolled onto his side. He curled his legs up like he was in pain, and he held his one arm tightly against his body. He was hurt. Maybe something was broken. I didn't mean to hurt him, just hit him. Suddenly, I was pushed sideways by a two-handed shove. One of their players hit me. "You jerk!" he yelled at me. He was so mad he was practically spitting at me through his face guard. "That was a cheap hit." Two of our players knocked him over. Before I could even think to react, another one of their players started shoving. All four refs came running over and tried to separate everybody. The refs blew their whistles like crazy and grabbed players by their jerseys to pull them apart. I just stood there, staring, taking in everything. I hadn't done anything wrong. It was a fair hit. He had the ball. It wasn't whistled down by the refs as a penalty. Slowly the kid got to his feet, supported by one of the coaches. He was holding his one arm with the other. It looked like a collarbone had snapped. "It was a good hit," one of my players yelled. "Clean hit." The refs called a timeout, and Coach signaled for some changes. He took me off. I was glad to be finally gone, but part of me wanted to stay on. If somebody else wanted to make something of this, I didn't want them to think I was running. At the end of the game, as we walked down the line shaking hands, I heard some grumbling about our team being bad sports, bad winners. I waited for somebody to say something about my hit, but nobody did. When I passed by the kid I'd hurt, I told him I hoped he'd be okay soon. He told me it was a clean hit. That showed class. Much more class than their coach. He had words with our coach after the game. I understood why they were upset. It hadn't felt good putting such a beating on them, but we did what we had to do. Besides, it sure beat the heck out of being a bad loser. If they were big enough to play, they were big enough to swallow a loss, no matter how bad. Just suck it up, take it like a man, shake hands, and leave the field. The crowd wasn't as big as we usually had for our home games. I guess I couldn't blame them for not showing up. Nobody liked to support a loser. The Streetsville crowd wasn't much better at losing than their team. And while some of them had left long before the end of the game, the ones who remained yelled out things to us as we passed through the stands toward the dressing room. A couple of those comments were aimed at me. This was one time when keeping my helmet on was a real benefit. It muffled the yelling and protected my head in case somebody threw something down on us as we left the field. As it was, nothing happened. Nobody seemed to want to leave the locker room. The time right after a big victory was even better than the game itself. Not that it had been much of a game. That one was over before it even began. The only question had been how badly we were going to beat them. "Can I have your attention for a minute, please?" Coach Pree called out. The noise quickly subsided to silence. A couple of guys came out of the shower wrapped only in towels. Everybody else, dressed, half-dressed, or still in full uniform, sat or stood and waited. Today was a glorious day, if you were wearing a central uniform. There was a smattering of laughter and cheering. We did what we needed to do, despite what some people might say. We all knew he was referring to the Streetsville coach. We did what we had to do. Losing wasn't an option. That was a war out there, a battle, and while we don't necessarily enjoy crushing somebody into the ground, I liked watching Jay do it, though, somebody yelled from the back, and everybody laughed. Sometimes it is good, Coach Pruitt said. It was a good hit. If they wanted to be angry at anybody, it should have been at their quarterback for throwing such a lame duck pass. They always blame the quarterback, Kevin yelled out. All the glory and all the blame, all the time, Steve announced. Anyway, Coach Pruitt continued, I know it's better to crush somebody than to be crushed. The lessons you learn in football are the lessons you learn for life. I remember one of my coaches telling me that you learn more from losing than you do from winning. So I guess our opponents should be thanking us for the education we gave them today. There was more laughter and comments. Today we gave them all a collective PhD, and when those ratings come out next week, you can count on us not being ranked 5th or 4th or even 3rd. You can even count on us not being ranked 2nd, because 2nd is not an option. We will be ranked where we belong, number 1. Almost in unison, everybody started cheering. We're number 1! We're number 1! The noise kept building and building and building until it wasn't just something coming out of my lungs or into my ears, but filled every part of my body. We were number 1. All right, take a minute to fill out what you can on the Google Doc and then come back for part 2.